To take you live to New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian speaking at the New South Wales Rural Fire Service headquarters.
The police have confirmed that, and a third person is missing with grave concerns for their safety west of Narooma. Our message to everybody is please follow instructions. We know not only are locals impacted, but in the entire South Coast regions there are potentially thousands of people who are holidaying or who'd been travelling in the last few days. Please follow instructions. Please do not do anything that's going to compromise your safety or the safety of others. As we've said, the conditions are not easing at this stage. We're still experiencing or will experience hours of prolonged and dangerous conditions, especially on the South Coast and in some parts of southwestern New South Wales. There are also chances that fires in other parts of the state could exacerbate given the conditions we're experiencing. We're urging everybody to please stay safe, please follow instructions, please check on loved ones, but also please know that in many parts of New South Wales, especially in the South Coast region that we've described, telecommunications is compromised because of the amount of traffic, but also some towers may have been compromised because of the fires, and also contacting, of course, loved ones through other means might be difficult at this time. But please ensure where you can that you're have your loved ones accounted for, but also please know there's a chance you may not be able to contact them because of the telecommunication systems being crowded or down, and of course we're monitoring those situations as well. So alerts have been sent out where possible, alerts have been sent out to everybody. We ask everybody to follow that. The next few hours are critical with conditions not abating for a number of hours, and we ask everybody to please follow the advice, take advice, and where possible stay in touch with loved ones and please account for them. I'll hand over to Commissioner Fitzsimmons and then also Deputy Commissioner Warboys from the police.
Thank you, Premier. We still have more than 100 fires burning across New South Wales, and 60 of those are not contained. We've still got just over 2,200 personnel across the fire grounds, and more than 100 aircraft available and deployed. Having said that, aircraft have proven to be very limited today in these very difficult conditions because we've had significant smoke inundation and smoke settling in and around these fire-affected areas, but also the pilots have identified significant safety issues with some of the turbulence and the velocity of the winds that are being experienced across the ranges and in and around these fire grounds. We still have 8 fires burning at the emergency alert level, particularly through the South Coast and the southern ranges out towards the southern border region. We've got the fire burning in the Shoalhaven, the Currowan fire. That's still at the emergency warning alert level, particularly up in the northeastern corner of that fire, in and around the South Nowra area, with heavy impact into property, into people's homes and people's local communities and other buildings. We've also got warnings and alerts out to places like Sussex Inlet and the Bay and Basin region to shelter in place should the fire approach, because it is just too dangerous right along these coastal strip to have people moving in or out of the majority of these roadways. We've got the fire burning through the Eurobodalla, of course, the Clyde Mountain fire, which is coming down and has impacted right through into the Batemans Bay region, and particularly the community of Batemans Bay and all those beachside coastal communities to the east of Batemans Bay. The southerly is moving through that area and now pushing that fire back towards the north, so we need people to remain vigilant, and again we're getting reports from the field of a heavy damage toll that's being occasioned across a lot of areas in and around that Batemans Bay Mogo region as that fire has moved east and is now being pushed again further south. We've also got a number of fires in the Eurobodalla area that are also burning, and we've also got the Bega Valley fire down on the Victorian border that's come through onto our side, and then of course we head across to 3 fires through the Snowy Monero, Snowy Valley area, and then right across to the Greater Hume area where that fire, the Green Valley fire, has spread probably about 30 or 40 kilometres south into Victoria today under northwesterlies, and is now pushing back into the Kosciuszko National Park, coming into the back end of places like Cancoban, and we're working very closely with with popular village locations like Thredbo and others about the trigger points for should that fire continue to progress in that area. Whether it's Nowra, whether it's the Bega Valley, whether it's up on the ranges in places like Cobargo, where there is also reports of a heavy damage toll with dozens of buildings being damaged or destroyed, including plenty of businesses and other shops and buildings along the main street of Cobargo. A heavy toll appears to have been occasioned through there as well. We need to brace ourselves for a considerable number of properties, a considerable number of homes that are likely to have been damaged and or destroyed right across these 8 emergency warning fire areas, given the extraordinary nature of the fire behaviour and fire spread today. As we indicated earlier this morning, right from this morning, these fires have spread faster and further than the modelling and the fire weather predictions suggested they would. It's been a truly awful day, not just for firefighters, but clearly for the families, for the communities, for those that are holidaying down on the south coast. We've got literally hundreds, thousands of people up and down the coast taking refuge on the beachscapes, in clubhouses, surf clubs, in centres like Bateman's Bay, Maruya and other areas that are more defendable than some of the rural and isolated areas. But I plead with everybody, it's going to be a very long, difficult and dangerous night still ahead. It's going to be another difficult day again tomorrow, even though the weather conditions are easing from what we've got today. The road networks through the south coast are generally speaking, you're driving through heavily timbered areas, you're talking about tall trees, tall timbers. The last thing we want is people chancing things on the road networks, trying to get out. The roads are closed going west, the roads are closed going south, the roads are closed going north. Unfortunately, we need people to start contemplating what their arrangements are going to be for tonight, whether that is lining up with friends or family or accommodation spots along the coast that prove to be a little safer as the southerly moves through the area later this evening, or indeed we might see people making makeshift facilities tonight in facilities, surf clubs and other facilities along the coast in some of these regional centres. It's going to be a very long, difficult and dangerous night still ahead. I'll hand over to Deputy Commissioner Gary Warboys to talk about the tragedy this afternoon.
Thank you, Commissioner, Premier. Police have been in the last few hours able to get into Cobargo, into this house that's just west of Cobargo, and have unfortunately found 2 men in there deceased. That's of course a tragedy for their family and friends and the greater community of Cobargo, and our thoughts certainly are with those people. We continue to try and make our way to a property, to a house that is west of Narooma, where unfortunately we think that the news there will not be good either, with an elderly man in that location that's been reported to us earlier today. The messages are really quite simple from here, in terms of we know we have a lot of people along the coast, right along the south coast, that have taken refuge on the beaches and headlands and surf clubs. We simply ask those people to be mindful that it will be still hours. We want them to be looking for where they might spend tonight, and of course those people who are left there will certainly look after them with accommodation as well. But we would like people to start to think about where they might spend tonight. And use of the Princess Highway and the roads that up and down and run off the Princess Highway back west. We ask people to stay off those roads. It's pretty simple. You can't get through. They are closed. We don't want people to go sightseeing. That would be one of the worst things in terms of hampering emergency services and compromising your own safety. So please, we ask people to be considerate. We know that it's New Year's Eve. We would ask people to be mindful of their alcohol intake and make sure that they tonight make the situation as comfortable as they can as we try and see this afternoon resolve in the safest possible way that we can. Thank you.
Just about the people that have been deceased.
Yep.
Can you give us more? Are they firefighters? Are they residents? and also the missing person, any idea if that person is a child?
Yeah, we could say certainly that the two men at Cobargo are residents of Cobargo, a father and son, as we believe. A very tragic set of circumstances, obviously trying to do their best with the fire as it came through in the early hours of this morning. And the other person that we are trying to get to west of Narooma, we think that person as well was caught up trying to defend their property in the early hours of this morning. So we'll know some more about that final person that's unaccounted for that we speak about a little bit later today.
Will you be asking Mr Elliott to come back from his holiday?
Look, I want everyone to be assured that the New South Wales Government, our emergency services personnel are doing everything we can to protect life and property. And we have all the resources in place to make sure that occurs. But we also ask the community to help us by staying out of the way of the experts and by please taking the advice. And every resource that's necessary is here. I've been on deck the whole time and I intend to continue to be. This is when we all come together as a state and we make sure that we work together to keep as many people safe as possible. And I also want to make this point because I appreciate that for many families and for many people across the state, what they're feeling the most now at this time is fear and anxiety. Depending on where you are, it looks horrible. We say to all those people, please follow instructions. We're here to support you and we appreciate what you're going through.
Madam Premier, the Emergency Services Minister said you have to deteriorate pretty badly for you to come back. How much worse does it need?
Look, this is about making sure we have the people in place, the resources in place to take care of the situation, and we have that. At the end of the day, the buck stops with me. I'm the Premier. The buck stops with me in making decisions and in supporting our emergency services personnel. The Acting Minister is here with me. I feel completely supported. I've got the full team in place, and more than that, I just want to commend again the coordination activities of all of our emergency services personnel. This isn't about us individually. This is about making sure we pull together as a community to ensure we protect as much life and property as possible. That's our focus. That continues to be our focus. And we have every measure, every resource in place to make that happen. But what is concerning us the most is it's unheard of at 8 a.m. this morning when temperatures were relatively mild to have had at least 5 fires at that stage at emergency level. That was something that wasn't anticipated. We had a feeling that the day would be a difficult one, and that's proved to be the case. And we're bracing ourselves for a difficult few hours and evening, depending on where people are located.